Race 4 of the BMW IBSF Women's Skeleton World Cup. We're in Winterberg in Germany on a morning that can't make up its mind whether it's clear and sunny or cloudy and snowy. Hello everybody, welcome to the pre-Christmas run here in Winterberg, Germany, the home of Jacqueline Lerling. I'm Martin Haven, alongside me John Morgan. And John, this track everybody knows well, but it's produced a few problems in training.
Well, the weather has been a little suspect, which is expected here in Winterberg, and you just have to put up with it. And snow, rain, and the athletes have been practicing in it. It's a short track, one of the shortest on the tour, and they changed it about 6 years ago, this long straightaway here. You watch this little chink curve coming up. So this is like zero curve because they didn't change the rest of the curves. This is like the little chink curve. Boy, that causes a lot of issues, especially in bobsledding. Now the track up here, very slow, very technical, very demanding of precise forward energy. No way you want to go left or right here. Now it picks up a little speed, a little uphill section here. Now we start picking up some speed as we enter the pivotal part of the track, which is coming up, and that's the Kreisel curve coming up right here. Kreisel. In Kreisel, you want to exit with a slingshot effect because there's not a lot more speed opportunities to pick up than on this part of the track right here, curve 9. This is the nemesis on the track, more so for the bobsleds and skeleton, but big pressure now here in 10, 11. Now this little three-corner combination, the labyrinth. Every track's got to have one, boys. It's real tricky down here, and uphill finish turn. Martin, we like to say it's very easy to get down. It's very difficult to get down fast.
Yeah, lots of tricky little sections this year, lots of ice on some of the corners. Track record, start record set by Elena Nikitina back in December 2015, so that's 2 years old. And the track record set by world champion Lizzie Arnold as she won the Worlds in the February of that year. Jacqueline Lerling is our World Cup points leader from compatriot Tina Hermann. We've had 3 races in North America. We've had 3 different winners. Lerling won the last one in Whistler. Season opener fell to Janine Flock of Austria, and Elena Nikitina of Russia won in Park City, Utah. So 3 different winners. Are we going to have a 4th? Well, the odds are against it. Tina Hermann has yet to win this season, but the girl who is most likely to owns that sled, Jacqueline Lerling. She's the hometown queen. First met her when she was the junior world champion in 2015, came to the Worlds and darn near won it. She took the silver medal, and this is definitely a happy hunting ground for her. There's your junior world champion, Yulia Konakina. And there's the view out with a little bit of snow coming down. So the early start draws could be very favorable. Ryan Mung of Korea will be first out. The top 10 don't go off in the first 10. They go from 6 to 15 down. That's the top 10 in the World Cup. And so some of the minnows actually get a chance to shine right at the beginning. And John, that's produced some really entertaining results over the season.
Especially when you combine it with the weather that we've had. We've not had nice weather yet. This
is
the
the winter
4th event, but come on. We got to have a little blue sky and sunshine sometime.
Race 4 of the BMW IBSF Women's Skeleton World Cup, and Korea's Rayong Moon kicks it off for us.
Yeah, she competed in Whistler in a 25th spot. It was the first time we had seen her. Look at this little chink curve. Look at that. I mean, that was almost taking too much of the curve, and then she hit the right wall on our right. And that's, you know, on a sport dealing with hundreds of seconds, especially on this short track, you can't do that.
Well, she's never raced here in any notifiable international race, and this is only her 5th ever World Cup start. You can already see the marks on the ice being left by the runners, and that's not because they're cutting into the ice, that's because they're leaving a mark in the tiny little fluffy snow that is sitting on top of the track.
And don't think that's not hundreds of seconds also.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's a little bit of luck of the draw and a lot to do with talent. And this track is so meticulous. Down here, this 3-quarter combination, they're going 75+ miles an hour.
And we've not yet had a Korean woman slider in the top 20. There's 28 sleds today, so it is going to be a tough ask, but she does at least get the early draw, so the ice will have been freshly swept for her.
2.5 seconds off the track record. So I think we're going to get within a half second. I bet you we might get within a half second of the track record here.
Well, we could do. We've got a track record holder, the Olympic champion Lizzie Arnold in the field. We've got the world champion Jacqueline Lerling in the field. Well, Ryan Munn, will she make it in or not? Too early to tell.
This didn't help.
Yeah.
Look at too much of the curve. Now, okay, get it, come straight. Well, she can't. She's still steering. You can see the runners going across the ice. Friction on the low speed of the track.
Yeah.
Not the way to do it.
She'll be thinking about that all the way into the changing rooms. Next up is 33-year-old Japanese slider Takako Oguchi. First slid on ice back in 2003. And she's been part of Japan's World Cup program since 2005. She didn't compete here last time in the World Cup. In fact, she's been quite an irregular slider here.
20th was her best finish in Lake Placid, the opening event. Much better start, much better negotiation of the first curve. 20, 24, and 21 in 3 races so far on this year's World Cup. And Martin, like you said, she's got a lot more experience and should be producing better results.
I think perhaps the speed has gone from her legs. Either that or the younger athletes are arriving in the sport quicker than they used to. It used to be where sliding got you through. Now you need the full package.
Well, the other thing, the Japanese have new coaching. You know,
yeah.
Kyle Tress in the United States, and I don't think Kyle speaks a lot of Japanese, so there's that communication thing going on here in the early stages of his career. And
yeah.
Kazumiro Koshi coached the program forever, the legend from Japan. And
nice transitions, 6/10 up.
Yeah, so she's going to be about 3/4 of a second ahead of the Korean who just came down, 60. No, she lost at the same speeds in the bottom. There's Kyle Tress, just took over in November, coaching the Japanese program, former U.S. slider.
Yeah, last time we were here, he was competing in the men's field for the USA. Now he's coaching.
Well, that tells me 6/10 better. We start getting some of these.
She's going to be on the bubble, definitely.
Bubble, yeah.
That's
so. Again, we're going to be 3,400. Here's the most beautiful pictures we have on tour. This high-speed, slow motion. Everybody has a different way of getting on that sled. Left groove, right groove, left handle. And sometimes it doesn't go according to plan. They come out of those grooves. So we'll keep our eyes on that as the event progresses.
So a couple of jury members looking into the track on the way down just to check how the conditions are. Next up, Maria Montejano. Martin Rettel encouraging her to get on with this immediately. The longer you wait at the start, the more snow there's going to be in the grooves and the harder it'll be to get speed into the sled.
Well, let's see what Maria can do at curve 1. She's got a little bit of a skid going on, and she's got a deficient start. She's 600ths down, but I think she had not a very good exit of curve 1.
Weather was quite warm early in the week in training. Yesterday, it was much colder and icier, so the track was harder yesterday, but the skeleton athletes weren't training because they were racing today. So today is the first time they've got this really hard, fast ice under them.
24th, 28th, and 27th in 3 races so far. And this looks like a second-place time so far.
Yeah, so she's going to be on the bubble as well. And every slider that comes down slower than Takako Oguchi increases the Japanese girl's chance of making it through.
Well, the Japanese sliders got more experience than the 2 sliders here, including
Maria from Barcelona, only her second full season in World Cup sliding. Last year was effectively her rookie season, although she'd done occasional appearances.
Decent speed on the bottom part of the track, but that mistake up top, you can't really tell how much time you lose up there, but it's an enormous amount of time you can lose on that track up there in the exit of that curve 1. And here, this is the slingshot, a pivotal part of the track for speed. You want to exit here, not going up and down, the oscillation points there. This is the exit of Kreisel. She was late, and look what happens here. When you're late, you're trying to slingshot your foot on the exit of that curve, and she did not.
A little bit of a toast here going on. Jane Channel of Canada is the 4th of our starters, the 29-year-old from Vancouver. Only 12th here last year, but in December 2015, she was the bronze medalist, and she was 4th in the World Champs.
Yeah, well, watch this start, too. This should be maybe in the 30s.
Start record is 5:17, 5:27. That's really good. In the snow.
Not a very good exit, though. But, you know, she came out of in Whistler, she got on the podium. So it's her first podium of the year, 6th in Lake Placid, 11th in Park City. But when you can start the sled like this athlete can, you have a chance for the podium every time you come out. And she was 4th here at the World Championships in 2015, just missing out on the podium to her teammate Elizabeth Vaci.
Yep. Took a bronze medal in the World Cup race at the beginning of the 15-16 season, so she has got speed and potential. Last year it didn't go well with her. 6900s up. This is a much better looking run than the ones we've seen before. And that disappointing result in Park City dropped her out of the top 3.
Speed.
That's 78 miles an hour. Chin on the ice.
1 second in advance. There it is. So that gives you an idea. Okay, so now we got a barometer right there. And the next 3 sleds coming up, next 4 or 5. So we got a lot of action in the next 5 sleds, which is, of course, it's the World Cup top 10. But mistake at a curve 1 cost her, you know, in my estimate, 2/10. Watch her into the middle, probably a little bit. This is pretty good, but then the exit, look at the sled skidding. Her toes are dragging. She's trying to stay off the wall. She can't. That might cost her a podium today right there. She knows it. She just watched it on the screen. Look at her shake her head.
Yeah. But everybody is going to be finding that hard ice for the first time. Next up, Laura Dees of Great Britain, a 29-year-old former equestrian athlete. 8th place here last year, 4th in 2015 in the World Cup race, so she was just behind Jane Channel then. Can she produce a similar start and slide here?
She just really hasn't put 2 heats together in any one of the 3 races so far. 5th in Lake Placid, 5th in Park City. Had a great first run at Whistler and then slipped in the second run all the way to 11th place. So it's just about put 2 heats together. She could challenge for a podium. In fact, we thought she was going to get on the podium in Whistler.
Yep. And it's that consistency that comes with age and experience.
Look at that, she's 700s behind at the start, and she's already ahead of Jane Chanel. That's all related to she had a clean exit of 1, and Jane Chanel did not.
This is a really good-looking slide. She's straight down the middle of the track, and that's exactly what you want here. Look how few corrections she's making.
Well, the British have a little history on this track of doing pretty well.
900ths of a second up, so the gap is coming down fractionally. She may have a little more control of the sled, but it might be cutting the ice a fraction more than Jane. But look at that.
Coming down to the 100. She'll have 2 or 300s lead, but not the same speed as Jane Chanel on the bottom.
It's going to be
6.
Okay.
So Eric Bernatus, the American, been coaching the British now for a good 2 Olympic quads. And good run, but Jane Chanel made the mistake in 1. Yeah, Chanel had a half a kilometer better speed, half a mile an hour speed better at the bottom. Look at the start. Everybody's gonna look at where she comes from. She comes from that groove. Look, you know where her sled is and her hop on the sled. Boy, it's so meticulous. Everybody takes this for granted, Martin, and it should not be taken for granted.
Absolutely. They spend hundreds and hundreds of repetitions to get even the landing into the saddle right. So Laura Dees, the leader, first 5 sleds down here, and 28 in the field. Next up is the little Belgian, Kim Malmens, 21-year-old. 14th here last year, but 10th in the World Cup race in December 2015.
A lot of friends and family up here.
Nice run through turn 1.
46 start. She's a glider. Boy, she's going to have to be a perfect glide down to catch Laura Dees or Jane Chanel with that deficient start time. But she's only 1600s back there at that clock. That's a good sign. Yeah. Martin, it's snowing at the top of the track. It's not snowing at the bottom.
Well, it's kind of snowing into it everywhere just at the moment.
And look at this, 16 to 16. That means she stopped the bleeding, as we say. Good exit, slingshot now. Let's see what she can do in 9.
Yeah, good lines again. Here she comes, closing in, and she'll find speed at the bottom of the track.
She's a glider. Good form.
Yep.
Bullet form. Let's see what she can get on the speed.
Beautiful.
Oh, she's coming back.
Here she comes. This is for a chance to lead the race for Kim Malmens of Belgium. Lots of Belgian fans here.
At 400's back. Wow, that's a great run.
Martin Rettel happy with that.
Yes, but she has a start time of 1200s deficiency and only loses 4 at the bottom. That's the best run of the day down the track. That wasn't the best run in the first 50 meters, but down the track, Kim Malmens had the best line. And look at the snow is down the bottom,
coming down harder now. So she's happy with that, yeah. Well, listen, we're not going to... that's 6 of 28 sleds down.
But it's not a wet snow. At least, you know, here it's got a famous history of wet snow on the track. Canceled the race, second heat of the women's race last year. Look at the line. Look how low her head is. Perfect bullet form here in the bottom part of the track.
Yeah, great run. Kim Malmans in second, Jane Channel in third, Laura Dees the leader. Next up with the yellow vest is our World Cup points leader, last year's World Cup champion, our world champion, #1 all round, and definitely for the fans here. This is her home track. Jacqueline Lurling's family, friends and fan club are out in force.
Second in this event last year to Canadian Elizabeth Vachi, who's coming up, and this will not be a good start.
Silver in the World Championships here as well. That's when we first met her when she was 18.
The tallest athlete in the competition. Now, the rest of this is probably going to be textbook. I'm not going to jinx her because it's her home track. She's down 4/10. You figure she's got no chance on this short 1,200-meter track. Well,
let's see what she does.
Watch what she does.
Knows this track better than anywhere else.
Picked up a 10th there. She's probably going to be in the mid-teens at the next clock.
And the harder it snows, her tall, rangy form helps her better because she's carrying more mass.
Look at this. She's already down to 400s.
She's going to have the lead. And look at the way she's steering with her head. Chin right down there.
Speed. Way better than everybody else. She's gonna blow. She's gonna be 4/10 ahead in a snowstorm.
This is insane, and she's only 22 years old.
How can she do that? I mean, that defies all of the odds of sliding. If you don't have a start, you can't compete. If you have a short 1,200-meter track and you don't have a start, you really can't compete. But then there's Jacqueline Lurling.
Yeah.
How do you figure that?
This is home ice. She can do that stuff here.
She lives about 30 kilometers away. Doesn't live at home. She lives in the team hotel for the trainer and the food. And just another day at the office.
And the other deal with that is when you're at home, you're relaxing. When you're in the team hotel, you're racing.
Look at this. Now, she's got not a perfect line, but you notice the sled didn't skid.
Yep.
She had her toes out, but the rest of the form, this 6-foot-tall athlete, look at the toes. Leaning, like you said, Martin, you picked up a couple plays. Look at steers with the head.
Yeah, she knows it's just tiny adjustments.
Well, right
off
up to the
goes
top.
Elena Nikitina, the start record holder, like a shot from a gun. 5:17, her start record. She ties it. 5:17 in the snow.
You saw her not perfectly on the exit, but you know, she's done well on this track before. Of course, won once this year.
Well, her results in the last 4 years, last time 18th, before that 13th, before that 11th, before that 10th. She's actually getting much worse as she gets more experienced on this track.
She's 1,600ths in the lead. I don't know how she cannot be the leader in the bottom, but that oxymoron Jacqueline Lurling that just came down has got me totally confused about starts and downtimes. And Nikitina here, this looks like a first place run. She's probably going to be teens, probably 12, 1,300s up.
Low line in the final corner, and...
Zero time! Boy, the Russians have had a rough week. We all know what's going on.
Yeah.
You can't look in their eyes and think that there's something has happened. The athletes are still focused on the task at hand, and it's all you can do. And, you know, God bless them for what the pressure that they're under also.
Yeah.
But it didn't affect her performance.
Tied the all-time start record. She's already had 1 win this season.
And this is a little pocket rocket here.
That's not her.
Yeah, it is.
It's Laura Dees. She 5:17 start. She got away the moment the light changed. Because of the snow, she wasn't going to waste a second. So we have a tie for the lead. Jacqueline Lurling, Elena Nikitina. We've only had 8 sleds down, and the drama's ramped up already. 9th out of the start building is Tina Hermann, the World Cup champion 2 years ago, the world champion here in 2015. Well, the world race winner rather here in 2015, didn't win the world champs in February. She won here in December 2015.
Not very good in Lake Placid, a 10th, but then in Park City, a silver medal. Then in Whistler, the last event, she had a bronze medal. Yeah. So she's on track to do what she does, which is get on the podium at every race like she did 2 years ago when she won the World Championship title and the World Cup title.
Gap out to 0.2 of a second already over Jacqueline Lurling and Elena Nikitina. Down we go, down to 1500s as she gets to the Kreisel. Nice solid line through the Kreisel. Again, watch her steering with the heads. That's the tiniest of adjustments of the line.
700, so this is going to be, I'd say, a top 2 maybe.
Really good.
Speed on the bottom. Speed on the bottom is going to be crucial.
It's here on down that she's going to find speed, if anywhere.
+3, lolling at a 80-mile-an-hour speed.
Just behind, 500s back, 1100s back.
Top 3. So she got beat by Nikitina at the start by 3600s, only lost by 11 at the bottom. Jacqueline Lurling, we got to put her on a different planet. I don't know how to evaluate and discuss what she does at the top or the bottom of the track.
But we used to say that about Tina Hermann as well. Didn't have the start, but she finds pace further down the track.
Well, crossover of the hands. Now this gymnastics type move onto this little tray table. And you want to hit it with energy going forward, not left to right.
Great swallow dive there, carrying all that final step speed in. 10th of our sliders is the 3rd of our German athletes. This is Anna Fernstadt from Königssee in Bavaria, 21-year-old. 10th here last year. This is only her 4th international race here. May have done German racing, but once in Europa Cup, once in ICC.
Surprised everybody last time out in Whistler. She didn't make the Lake Placid or the Park City events, but she came off the North America Tour and finished 6th in Whistler. Very impressive. She, like her other teammates from Germany, don't get the great starts, but she's also a good glider down the track.
In fact, she started 900 slower than Jacqueline Lurling. And again, product of the Bavarian school of sliding down in Königssee.
7th at the moment, but she's got good history for speed on the bottom part of the track. She's in that glider category like her teammates, still holding on to 7th.
Like Lurling, very young, just turned 21, so we could see her for another couple of Olympic cycles.
3400s back, still holding at 7th, speed off the mark. She's a couple kilometers down to her teammate. Through, down.
Oh, and up to 4th place at the line. So she found something in that final corner.
She went from 7th to 4th, so that's what gliding will do.
And knowing the right line in the finish corner, that's a big, long, sweeping corner.
9th best start time, 4th best down time.
Listen to the wind blowing as well.
Look at
That's
the form.
not helping.
Look at the form in the Kreisel. Did you see her going up and down?
No.
No, that's perfect. Look at the exit here, the slingshot. As good as we've seen.
Hey. Always looks happy with her lot. Fast 10 sleds are down. We've got a tie for the lead. 1100s cover the top 3. We've got 18 still to come. 11th of the starters in our packed field in race 4 of the BMW IBSF Women's Skeleton World Cup is the USA's Katie Uhlaender. Uhlaender, 33 years old, 20th on this track last year. Her previous World Cup race was in 2012 here, and she won back in 2007. That's how much experience she's got on this track.
And she's at the stage of her career where she's a glider also. 5:40 start, 4th best start, so that should put her in a chance to stay in the top 4 or 5.
Well, that's halfway between the tied leaders. 2300s faster than Jacqueline Lurling, but 800 slower than Elena Nikitina, who's tied with the lead. 3900s up. Wow.
Well, that's that oxymoron Jacqueline Lurling that disrupts our timing all the way down. You figure that there's no way Katie Uhlaender can lose this.
She's got her traditional style going where she often has her heels way apart just to give herself the balance.
This is a top 3 or 4 unless she just finds the, it's
still a really good run.
She's probably about 18, 20 hundredths back here in the finish.
Let's see, final corner, gets a good exit, just bumps the wall.
41! Whoa, how did she lose all that time on the bottom?
Final corner.
Well, it's also Jacqueline Lurling with the afterburners
she's
on the
got
bottom part of the track.
Shortcut of her own, Jacqueline Lurling.
If they take the...
She's happy with that, though.
If they take the last two splits and put Jacqueline Lolling in there, she just blows the field away.
Absolutely.
Here's
little
a tap.
late exit there, little rub on the wall.
This is into that 4, 5.
Yeah, 5, 6 have been tricky, and 11, 12 very tricky.
Hearing from the bobsled drivers, a lot of ice in the track. It's very tricky.
Next up is last year's race winner on this track with the Wonder Woman helmet and the shield on the bottom of her sled, Canada's Elizabeth Vachi, the 23-year-old. Last year was a season of redemption, her third in the World Cup.
Look at the technique with the arm coming straight ahead like a sprinter.
Pushing left-handed, lots of them push right-handed in that groove.
Everybody's got a different way of doing it. Nice. Ooh, as soon as I said nice, she had a little bit of an exit issue and won. So 36, the 4th best start.
Hear how crisp the ice is, really crackling under the runners. And the snow's pretty much stopping at the moment.
Well, she's a glider, but she's also a good starter. Anybody that comes out and wins in the World Cup circuit like Elizabeth Vachi has, you got to have all of those, at least 1 or 2 of those combinations.
Well, she can win on a driver's track, she can win on the glider's track as well. So, you know, when you train a lot in Calgary, you learn how to glide. When you train a lot in Whistler, you learn how to drive, because that's survival. 200's behind.
This could be top 2.
Second or third, well, she can't be second because we've got a tie for the lead, but only 1500s back. So top 4 now covered by 1500s. And then there's the jump to Katie Uhlaender, 4100s back in fifth.
That gives her a chance to medal.
Yeah.
For sure.
400s out of third. Don't forget, we got a tie for the lead.
Boy, there is a lot of loss of time on the bottom part of the track.
Yeah.
Everyone up at home, love you.
Look at the hands. You think this is easy? They're crossing over with the hands. They're still running. They got to twist their bodies. Then they got to jump on this little tray. Boy, there's some athleticism in the sport that you just take for granted at the start. Watch her come off the finish curve here. We could see somebody flip here one of these times.
Yeah.
And that's right at the electric eye.
Wouldn't be at all surprised.
Everyone back home.
Next up is another of our Canadian athletes. This is Mimi Reneva. And Mimi with a really electrifying start. First year in the World Cup last season. Returns here to Winterberg, where she took a bronze medal on her first ever race here last year.
Should be a top start, 30s. 41. Surprised at that.
I wonder if she ran into a little bit of wind at the start.
She hasn't got on the podium yet. 7th in Placid, 4th in Park City, 7th in Whistler.
Race winner last year in St. Moritz by a country mile, going away by nearly 2 seconds from a world-class field.
Yeah,
she was a bronze medalist here.
That surprised everybody, including Mimi.
Not least. There are days you feel you've got it, but nobody ever feels they've got 2 seconds in hand over Olympic and world champions.
Didn't have the perfect exit in the slingshot part of the Kreisel.
10th in front.
There, 9.
Well, this is going to go into that mixing pot for 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, isn't it?
Yeah. This is red numbers, but this is top 5, top 6, probably 4,500s back, right around Katie Uhlaender's time.
Let's take a look at the line. 5th place. Wow, so she splits the difference between Vachi and Uhlaender.
She did not lose as much time as Uhlaender did on the bottom part of the track. They were pretty equal coming out of curve 10, 11, the last trap, and then hung in there. Speed in the bottom was decent. You know, her start was not what it usually is. I'm wondering if she's wounded. Good form here, but climbs on the exit of Kreisel and watch what happens. See, she comes off there not with the optimum line.
Again, only her 2nd ever race here. She didn't race here in any of the junior categories, so she's learning about a very different track to the one that they had last year.
Real different from that track at Whistler we just competed on.
Next up is our reigning Olympic champion, Lizzie Arnold, the 29-year-old. She won her World Championship here in 2015.
Look at the gusts of wind here. Oh, boy, that's... we'll see how that affects her start.
Well, you can actually see she had snow on the helmet.
Yeah.
Oh, no, that's not. No. Yeah.
So it
The wind
affected
is
the clock
gusting.
up there. So, oh boy, I'm surprised the coaches, of course, they don't know what to do. They only have 30 seconds to go.
Yeah, you can't hold on like the bobsledders for a minute.
I don't think she's a better than 11th best start. She's usually about a 5th or 6th. But she's a glider. She's got the same frame as Jacqueline Lolling.
Yep.
She's an Olympic champion, world champion, and that's because she knows how to go fast on the bottom of tracks.
Well, she beat Lurling to silver medal when she took the World Championship here in 2015, yeah.
She's way back. She's way back in the 10th, 11th spot. I'm surprised.
Don't
think
forget.
that gust at the top,
Yeah.
if they show us the coaches, they might be going over to the jury talking to them about that, because that was, or that's just
Well, that's
the
just
elements.
luck of the draw.
Look at
Up
that.
to 11th place,
Wow.
but only just. Don't forget, she missed the cut
Bad break,
in
is that what you
Whistler.
just said?
Yeah, it is a
Bad
bad
break.
break, and it's a winter sport, and somebody is going to get the tough break with the wind. And, you know, Steve Holcomb always was the guy that got the tough break with the wind. What can you
Look
do?
at her, look, she do.
What can you do? I'm loving the helmet, by the way. With a little.
I think it's more about, let's
Jake
hear what she says.
Wow, nothing you can say.
Look.
Yeah.
We know, Lizzie.
So next up, Janine Flock of Austria.
You know, this is going to be interesting. What they've looked down. Let's see if it's windy down there.
Won the opening
Can we
race
see
of the
down there if
season.
it's windy?
Missed the cut in the next race.
Ooh.
Yeah, really gusting.
Now look at the coach now. The light's on. They're just going to send her right away.
Well,
What do
who
you
knows
do?
what the wind's going to do at the end of the 30 seconds. You can't gamble on it. You've just got to get on with it.
Well, the rest of this heat, if it stays like this, is a snow race, and the people in the front, nobody will catch them.
It's a bit of a lottery. Well,
Oh, look at the wind. Look at that wind come in.
yeah.
That's what Winterberg is, though. It's a 566. She's way better starter than that.
Well, that's a 100th off Lizzie Arnold. And Jacqueline Lurling started 563, so they should both have been quicker than Lurling.
The world champion, Olympic champion, should not be 1.5 seconds down in one heat of a run on the shortest track on the planet.
Agreed.
So now it's, you know, you sit back and you just hope that the athletes don't get too frustrated with the rest of the heat.
Well, the problem for Lizzie Arnold is that after missing the cut in Whistler, she's only 10th in the World Cup rankings. She'll want to be in the top half dozen at the end of the season to get herself a good draw for the games. Janine Flock, she missed the cut in Park City. She's only 11th in the world.
This is 1 second, maybe. This maybe is a, 90 hundredths down,
She's
95 hundredths down.
ahead of Yarnold, but not by much.
Look at the snow down. Look,
Yeah.
look. Mickey Gruberger, look at that. It's too bad now. You feel the athletes work so hard, they get in training, and then in 5 minutes time, the weather changed up there. Maybe less than that.
Well, 2 sliders, yeah. It went from being acceptable to horrendous.
And what did the jury do? I mean,
And listen to
nothing
the
they
wind.
can do.
Well, yeah, the moment you cancel the race, the weather clears up.
Well, up top of the track, little tap there. That's costly. That's that 4-5-6 combination. Janine not complaining.
There is nothing you can do at the moment. Next up for Latvia is Lauda Predjelena. Our race being led by Jacqueline Lurling and Elena Nikitina. So 16th of our 28 athletes. We're halfway through the field.
Doesn't look like it's blowing as bad as the last 2 sleds, but it's still
blowing a lot harder than anyone else.
They haven't started sweeping yet, so I wonder what the sweeping protocol is.
Well, there isn't one, clearly. 10.3 start. I think there's snow in the eyes there somewhere. 10.3, that can't be right. Everybody else is starting 5. John, I could start in 10.3.
Yeah, there's something.
Ish.
Well, the start clock up there is in a black form, so they definitely, the snow affects the eyes up there, the beams. So the rest of the way down is correct. The start time.
Yeah, start time's all over the
We're
place.
smart enough to realize that was not correct.
She's 6,500s back, and at the moment in 14th spot of 16 sliders.
I don't think there's anybody going to make any hay on this track the rest of the way down, so this should be good enough for a top 20 in placement in the second run.
Unless the wind stops.
Unless the wind stops,
and
yes.
it picks up in one sled,
Yes.
and it can go in one sled. And that's,
There's no way Look at the coach. There's no way that Elena is 1.5 seconds back to these leaders.
Well,
maybe she's 70 back.
She's 200 behind Lizzie Arnold.
Yeah.
So,
Listen.
There's Dennis Dukos with the sled. Yeah. Okay, then the jury are now in a spot where they need to make a decision. Do we stop the heat, wait for weather, or do we just plow on and then cancel it after all 28 sleds are being down?
Well, they had a weather race here last year where they canceled the heat and they took the first heat, so, you know.
Well, we can't take the first heat, but we might end up going to a second heat only race as the only heat.
And that's a weird setup because they'd have to go back to the first heat draw.
Yeah.
Poor Kimberly Boss, this is her really home track. We're in the Dutch Alps.
7th here last year.
Look at the wind.
I'll tell you what, if she can get down 7th on this run, then she really will be working miracles. That's a good turn 1. They are sweeping up behind her, but look how much snow there was.
Yeah, it's such a weird... It says 4:35.
Yeah, well, you know,
that's not right.
That ain't happening.
She has the best start. Now she went for the second clock, which is correct. She's at 17th spot, a second down already, and she'll be dealt a hand of probably about a 1.6 down at the bottom.
Now, she's coached by Martin Rettel. I know exactly what Rettel is doing now. He's saying, you've given her a start 1.3 seconds quicker than anybody else. How can we trust the timing?
No, but it's consistent the rest of the way down.
Yeah, but if the start beam was incorrectly triggered by the snow rather than the athlete, then we're in all sorts of trouble. 2.1 seconds back. Okay, this is not a fair race, and the jury have to make sure of 2 things. 1, it's safe. 2, it's fair.
Well, it was fair for the first 10 sleds.
But we're not a 10 sled race. We're a 28 sled race. It's not fair. They can't let this carry on. You saw Kristen Bromley there.
It's not our decision.
No, I know, but that's the jury's decision. But plainly...
Listen.
Now they're saying,
can you see? Can you see her right here? I mean, this is a winter sport.
Yeah.
But in Winterberg, the start, this is the only area not covered, and this is something they should think about up here. They've done a fantastic job at redoing this track, but the rest of the track is not so affected by the snow as it is the first 50 meters.
Yeah.
Final right track is clear.
And so we get next to our 18th starter, American Kendall Westenberg, 27-year-old, was 10th here last year. And like Kimberly Boss, if she can get a top 10 out of this, it'll be a small miracle.
It's
It'll be a large miracle.
So now the start clock is correct. She has 5.96, which is about what she would have as she has the same starts as Jacqueline Lolan, so she should have been 3/4 tenths better there. Now it's tough to do commentary on something that, you know, the athlete has no chance.
It is a bit of a lottery, and unfortunately, yeah, they've all thrown snake eyes.
There's no winning tickets in this part of the field.
No. You know, what it might do is throw out a life belt to some of those that are outside the top 20 draw if it stops snowing. But even then, that's not a fair race. You know, if you get into the field from 28th in the field, then you'll go, okay, all right, it's not perfect, but I'll take it.
So Kendall's had a 14th in Lake Placid, a 12th in Park City, a 15th in Whistler.
2.5 seconds back.
And everybody that comes down now is last. Now that's something the jury has to reconsider. Everybody that comes down now is last.
Well, the snowstorm continues to get worse. There was 2 forecasts. One, it was going to snow at 11. One, it was going to snow at 2 in the afternoon. Both of them were spot off.
Well, at least we can still see her here in the Kreisel. Up and down, a lot of variation there. And then look at these pictures. Watch her come up here on the end of the finish curve.
Oh, love that. Love that camera shot. That's one we see a lot in the bobsleds. Well,
Hey, everybody.
Zach Lund smiling, but not with delight. Julia Kanakina, the junior world champion, 19th of our starters. She'll be 19th at the bottom.
She was the junior world champion in this track, right?
Yeah.
Not a bad. You can see there's no snow. There is snow on the track, but
there's an inch of snow in the track. They're not even sweeping it.
Not right there. It is. I mean, here you can see the roof. And so this drive line, yes. When you start seeing them make their own lines, there's an issue.
Yeah.
Now she's light, so with the snow on the track being a little heavier, you have a chance to get through the drift.
She's quite tall. I mean, she's
5'2".
Not the smallest. She's gone down to 11th spot. So actually, she's only just dropped out of the lead because the wind wasn't quite as strong at the start.
Well, she has one of the best starts in the field too. You know, she had a 5th best start.
Yeah,
40
in the wind.
In the wind.
Yeah.
So this looks like maybe a 15th or 16th place. So she's not last. Or is she? 12th.
12th.
Well, then the jury goes, well, look, there's somebody that just pulls off the 12th best start.
Yeah, and the Olympic champion's last, bar one. You know, yeah.
She's not last.
No, all right, she's not quite last.
No, there's 7 sleds behind her. So she beat the Olympic champion there, but she had 2,500 better start than the Olympic champion.
Yeah.
And again, she won the Junior World Championships on this track.
Yeah. 12th place is nothing to smile about, but given what has happened to the previous 4 or 5 sliders, she's doing really well. Well, next up is our 20th starter. So that is Savannah Graybill, with her pup being represented on the sled. 29-year-old. Hasn't raced here previously in the World Cup. In fact, as far as I can tell, she has never raced here.
11th in Lake Placid, 16th in Park City, and 18th in Whistler.
Sounds a lot stiller at the start. What does the camera 2 shot give us?
Better, it's better. It's not blowing left to right or right to left. 17th best start, and that's her nemesis is the start.
It's only Savannah's 14th World Cup, so she's still new to the top echelon of the sport. Look how much snow there is now in the track. It blows in, especially with that wind behind it. 17th fastest start, 18th on the splits at the moment. The more athletes she can put behind her, the better chance she has of making the second heat.
A couple oscillations there in the Kreisel, up and down, big W effect.
It's easy to progress or chart her progress against the others because all their runner marks are still left in the snow.
Yeah, this looks like 20th.
Yeah. She's a little behind with all the steers.
2.5 seconds behind.
Yeah. She is not making the field with that, I don't think. Although we've still got another 8 to go, so yeah.
But is there any good sliders in there? Jacqueline Narcot.
Well, Marina Giladoni, perhaps, Joslia Kont, Renata Kutina, Jacqueline Narcot, Ashley Pittaway, Maya Pedersen, you know, I mean, who knows? It depends on the weather.
Look at her crossover at the start. I mean, she doesn't have as much confidence, and she comes from an angle. Eyes are shut on the little breakfast tray and off to the races.
20 sleds down. There are 8 still to go, and our race is a tie with Jacqueline Lurling and Elena Nikitina at the top. 1500s cover the top 4. Well, really snow-affected first heat. Some of our expected front runners are nowhere. Next up, Marina Gilardoni, the 30-year-old Swiss, struggling still with injury. She does not have the lightning start that she used to have. Much less snow and wind at the start, though. You can actually see, and you can see the flurries from the wind. 5:49.
Decent start, 9th best. She's usually the 2nd or 3rd best start. Last year, the year before, when she medaled finally last year on the podium in the World Cup.
Well, Elena Nikitina started 5:17. She's not 0.3 of a second slower than Nikitina, even injured, so it's still pretty windy at the top. Straight as an arrow down from 5.6 into 7 at the Kreisel.
There.
Yeah. Well, she was 9th at the start, down to 13th on the splits, down to 15th on the splits.
She's drifting away from the time she needs.
Former bobsled brakewoman, so she's
16.
big and strong. She
Should make it. Should make it.
Savannah Graybill of the USA will go out if she does, and
16.
she does.
So that puts Gilardoni in the field for sure. And Martin, this tells me, look,
7 still to go.
We couldn't see the last couple athletes coming up that straightaway. That's how quickly the weather changes here. It changes from sled to sled. Look at, it's clear. It's like it stopped. So now these next 7 athletes can do something here.
Yeah. 5-minute hold might not have been out of the question when it really started blowing at the top. Marina Gilardoni is in the field at the moment, and Savannah Graybill is out. Kendall Westenberg of the USA in the drop zone as we get to our 22nd starter, Joske LeConte, 30-year-old. This is known as the Dutch Alps. It's always full of Dutch holidaymakers skiing, and last year 15th place finish. This is one of her better tracks.
And look, you know, there's not the inclement blowing wind.
It's still blowy, isn't it?
But not like it was. I can't believe they're waiting here.
Not so much snow. Is the clock running?
Is the clock running?
Clock's not running.
Not running. They haven't cleared
Clock's
the track
not
yet. Surprised
Kristen
they aren't
Bromley
telling
holding
her.
the sled.
Surprised they aren't telling her. There
Now
it
it
is.
goes green.
And she'll go quick, because you couldn't see the start down there for a couple of the
Look
sliders.
at the Russian flag, blowing more strongly though. There's less snow, but there's lots of wind.
This is a good opportunity for Joske LeConte. She needs a top 10 or 12 finish to qualify according to the Dutch Olympic standards, which are more strict than American West Point. I mean, it's...
Well, this is not the weather that she really needed, but 15th at the start. If she has, oh, they have swept. If she has a really neat run here, then that'll set her up with a chance. But she slipped away to 17th.
Yeah, really quick. But let's see, she can hold 18. Ooh, she made a mistake going into Kreisel. Now she's going up and down and might get off here, a little skid too. No, she got off there okay.
18th place. At the moment, she's in, and Kendall Westenberg is out. 19th place.
Oh, that's not good there on the exit of 9.
Behind her teammate, Kimberly Boss. Will she make it into the field? This is all really nervous times for all these athletes.
19,
trying to make it in.
She's holding it on. Right to the 100.
At the line.
19.
She's in, and Kendall Westenberg is out, and she's in front of Kimberly Boss. So Kimberly Boss is
on the
in the drop zone. Wow, nervy times.
Well, again, the weather outside is suspect. And look, you see, she has a different, her hands went right to both of those push bars. Everybody's got a different technique getting on that sled. Look at the crossover here. This is one of the worst lines. You saw that the snowdrift, her line went from left to right on the takeoff. Now she's going up and down in the Kreisel, covering more territory and ground than she needed. Was not a clean run for Joske LeConte.
23rd of our starters is Russia's Renata Kutsina. Didn't compete here last year. She's only had a handful of World Cup races under her belt. 23-year-old missed the cut in Lake Placid, 17th in Park City, 13th in Whistler. Oh, pops the groove.
There's our first victim.
Oh, and look at the snow.
There's our first victim of the grooves. Did she try and run too far, or has the groove caused that? Filled with snow.
Could be.
There'll be an angry coach up there.
13th fastest start despite all of that sideways down the ice, but with no speed effectively. It was almost like she was being pushed off at walking speed, and she's just going to sink like a stone. So Renata Kutsina is not going to make the field here. And there is one get-out-of-jail card for Kimberly Boss of the Netherlands. But I fear that she's going to need to play a few more to stay in this race. Kimberly Boss, Joske LeConte, 20th and 19th. Not in danger from Kutsina, but they are potentially still in danger of not making the cut.
Hard to do commentary, and the athlete, I mean, who, look at Dan, the coach, he's surprised he's not walking over to the jury and saying, hey, listen, check those grooves. But now the rest of the next 6 sleds coming, the last 5 sleds, 2, 3, 4, 6.
There'll be a few coaches going,
hey,
get
listen,
those grooves swept.
Well, also tell the athlete to be aware.
Yeah. It's
you're
as
right
she
there.
loads.
Look at that right there. You know, look at that groove right there. You could look at the snow in that groove.
It's all
right
broken
there.
around the edges.
Now, I'm sure they have to come down and sweep this.
Yeah. Sure, they'll be sweeping up at the top, but Renata Kutsina plays no further part in today's race. Jackie Narracott of Australia, the 27-year-old Queenslander.
I wonder if they're sweeping down there. Can they see that on that first curve? Probably
Missed
not.
the cut here last year, only 21st.
Here we go, let's go, big push.
She can have a decent start.
Well, look how much more gently the snow is falling now. So we've lost the wind, although we've still got the snow. And there was still quite a lot of snow in the grooves, but she got a good run through turn one.
She certainly did. Nice, quiet steering through that curve, which you need.
This little oasis of calm that she's lucked into might just be what she needs. 11th fastest start. She needs to make the race here.
Yeah, she had 17th in Lake Placid, 15th in Park City, 20th in Whistler.
She hasn't missed a cut so far this season. This would not be how to start the European leg by not making the race here. This is a good-looking slide, 12th place.
Yeah, she's going to hang in there.
Little skiddy.
Lost a spot there. 9, 10, this big sweeping 4 Gs of force, not on this three-corner combination in the labyrinth. And she's fallen. She's 13. She's going to be 14th, 15th place at the worst.
So she should be in the race, and she is 13th.
Well,
right,
she got a good window there, and she took
she
advantage
did.
of it, unlike the Dutch athlete who didn't have a good run. Jacqueline did.
Yeah. Kimberly Boss is out. Joske LeConte now in the drop zone. And there's Phil, who helps the small nations with the coaching. So she lucked in with the weather. Look how calm it is at the bottom now. You know, it was a gale 10 minutes ago.
Up top, speeds are slow. This little 4-5 combination.
Yeah, got a good drift going in there.
Yeah, and you're thinking about the Kreisel coming up, but you got to watch out. And then here, this is back down where you're doing about 80 miles an hour with your chin inches off the ice. Just another day at the office for these skeleton crazy people.
Yep. Okay, so we've got 4 to go, and it's welcome to the World Cup for Maria Matsalou of Romania, loving the new helmet. So her first World Cup this season. She's raced in the Intercontinental Cup in North America.
Oh, she slipped.
She was here in November for the Europa Cup race. That is a fabulous helmet. So can she make it in? 21st at the start with that little slip. That will have cost her a bit of extra speed as well. 20th place at the moment. She's in the race ahead of Joske LeConte. And again, this little bit of calm is just the golden ticket. She's got to grab it.
You know, we talk about this being the Dutch Alps and the Dutch home track. This has got a lot of Romanian home track in it too.
Yes, it does.
Romania's trade here.
Paul Niargo, their bobsleigh coach, and the man behind the bobsleigh program, lives and works here.
Runs a gym.
19th place.
She's going to be in. She's going to be in the cut. She never made any cuts last year.
She's climbing the field. 20th place. Hold it together, Maria. Come on. This is your chance.
Wrong.
How close will she be at the line? Is she in or is she out?
No.
She's out.
200ths.
200s behind Joske LeConte.
That exit in the finish curve, she had a couple oscillation points. Down too early, back up on the outlet with centrifugal force, so she lost a little time in that. And Martin, that finish curve is an uphill section. In a gravity sport, you don't want to make mistakes in uphill sections.
Yeah. That's a tough break for her. Joske LeConte breathes again. See, Maria's teeth aren't quite as shown on that helmet.
Well, this is the non-speed part of the track, and you can't be hitting walls and throwing up snow bursts like that. And then down here, this is where she got into a problem. She's laid off the 13, the third labyrinth, then into the finish curve. A couple oscillation points cost her. Somebody's going.
Going off from the top of the track is Nozomi Kimura of Japan. 32-year-old, missed the cut here last season, 23rd spot, but she's got experience.
Well, this is one athlete we've been a little perplexed with. 18th in Lake Placid, 19th in Park City, missed the cut with a 24th spot in Whistler. She's got a lot of experience.
9th fastest start, a 5:49. She's got a window of calm.
There's some throw away some time.
Yeah.
On that curve 3-4.
Can't afford that over the hill in curve 4. You're going uphill there.
13, she's hanging in there, but I think she almost put the brakes on with that exit of 3-4. 5.
A second behind, 17th place. The way she's hemorrhaging time, she's not going to make it. I think Joska LeConte will hold on here.
18th, no, she's hanging in there.
Going to be
Good
close.
line here. Oh, she's down. She's going to come back up in the outlet here.
Oh,
Watch out. 19, she's in.
Oh, rough landing there off the final corner.
Kyle Tress is happy with that.
So he's got both his girls in the race at the moment, and both Dutch sliders are out. Joska LeConte takes the drop, and Rai Young-mun of Korea in 20th place.
She was the first one down.
Yeah, 2 to go.
Okay, this is up top where the speeds are slow. She's coming on
look
the
at the
wrong side of the
skid.
straightaway. Now watch what happens to her. Comes in the middle of the curve, and she's got to take way too much of it. Another skid, another, you know, there was a problem. Then down here, curve 9, she's up here near the woodwork. That curve 9 is a nemesis. Watch, she skid through here, 9 to 10. She didn't do bad.
Yeah.
And that's how she ended up in 18th spot.
Okay, so Rai Young-mun of Korea is in the drop zone. Next up, the youngest athlete in the field, 17-year-old Ashley Pittaway. She's half British, half German. Grew up in Königssee. Family lives in Munich still. She's moved to Bath, where the British skeleton and bobsleigh teams train. And unique among all the athletes is that she has a chaperone with her as well, because she's still a minor.
Next week, she's going someplace else. We're going to see a couple more different athletes.
Yep. She'll be doing a Europa Cup race, and we'll have different faces in the frame here, which is not to say that she's being dropped. They're just sending her somewhere else to get different points.
And she's got a chance for double points. There's 2 races in 2 days there. It's half the points of the World Cup. She'll do much better in the field. It's all about world ranking. The top 3 nations get 3 sleds in the competition at the Olympics.
23rd at the start. On the split, she's gone down to 22nd, 21st. Here we go. She's closing. Don't forget, she was trained in the German program before she started sliding for Great Britain. 21st place. She does know the track, maybe not as well as Königssee.
She's right on the bubble. 22nd, no, not going to do it.
Doesn't look like it.
So the start time, the 23rd start time, is her nemesis.
And 4 miles an hour slower at the bottom than Jacqueline Lurling. So 21st place doesn't quite make it in.
She misses by 12 hundredths of a second.
Yeah.
She got, the Korean went first. That's how come the Korean beat her.
Well, her 5th ever World Cup, and unfortunately, she made the cut last time in Whistler. Doesn't make the cut here yet. So 17 years old, still really relatively inexperienced compared to anyone else in the field, actually.
Well, it's all about the start with her. Of course, Jacqueline Lurling, she's the same size as Jacqueline Lurling,
So our final slider is our 2006 Olympic champion, a 2-time world champion in women's skeleton.
2 hands on, look at the 2 hands.
Yeah, no, she's taking no chances with that
that's
spur.
where she starts, though.
Yeah.
She starts like that. That's the old way of starting. The Canadians brought the 1-hand start into the competition. Jeff Payne, the Olympic silver medalist in 2006. He came out of Calgary in 2003 with that 1-handed start that everybody's adapted to in the field, except for this Olympic champion here.
Well, look at the different lines she took and how successful it was. She got a low line there, and that really worked for her. You can see that she's using a completely different bit of track to half the athletes that have gone in front.
25th at the start, 24th now. I mean, she's won on this track before she started having children.
Yeah. Quit the sport, started her family. The family had grown, and she thought,
she married a Norwegian, so she went
time.
Swiss gold medalist to a Norwegian athlete here. And I don't know what the Norwegian qualifying standards are. She's not going to make the run here.
No, she's not going to make the cut. Well, one of the reasons that she and her husband Snorre are doing this, one of the reasons that Myra's doing this, is to try and reignite the Norwegian team. You know, they haven't had a female skeleton slider. They've now got her. They've got a male skeleton slider in the World Cup as well. And this is you know, starting the program, basically. And who better than a former Olympic champion to gain that attention?
Two-handed start. This is the only one you're going to see.
Anya Huber used to do that occasionally. When there was a snow race, if somebody had popped the grooves, she went to two-handed start.
But
Yeah,
Anya
but-
was a one-handed pusher
Yeah,
most of the time. This one is the only two-handed pusher we've seen in this century, this decade.
Yep, Maya Pedersen does not make the cut. But Jacqueline Lurling and Yelena Nikitina have a share of the lead. Now, who's going to win that? The tortoise or the hare?
Yeah, that's a great way to describe these two athletes.
I don't
Nikitina,
like
look
to-
at this. Nikitina is such a pocket rocket off the start. The difference between the starts is absolutely, you know, it's 5:17 to 5:63.
Yeah.
There's no way Lurling has a chance. Wrong.
That's going to be a fascinating battle, and the weather may well play a part in it. There's the top 10. Some interesting names further down, though, who really caught a bad rub with the weather, including race winner Janine Flock, junior world champion Julia Kanakina, Olympic champion Lizzie Arnold, only 14th. Lelda Predulena should be higher than 16th. I mean, there's a whole host of different names down there at the bottom of the top 20 who will be looking for redemption and praying for a break with the weather in the second heat. And Rae Young Mun, for the first time, a Korean female skeleton slider, makes a second heat. So that's a big feather in her cap. Out are Ashley Pittaway, Yoska LeConte, Maria Matsulu, Kimberly Boss, Kendall Wessenberg, Savannah Grable, Renata Kutsina, and Maya Pedersen. They join the fans trackside. Join us as well for the second heat. And that comes up in about 27 minutes from now, live from Winterberg in Germany. We'll see you then.
I see ya.